Hare Krishna, Vanchakalpatarivascha, Kripasindhudevascha, Patitanam Bhavanidya, Vaishnavadhyaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. This is Preeti Vilasini Devi Lalvi from Atlanta. We are not all on the call today. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha. You want to say a name?
Say a name. Hare Krishna, Balavrinda.
Hare Krishna, Balavrinda. Thank you so much, Balavrinda, for joining us and giving us your very valuable association. And thank you so much for your very sweet chanting.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashamati.
Hare Krishna, Yashomati Mataji. I hope you're feeling better. Our prayers for you. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining us, giving us your valuable association and chanting on the call. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. We are very happy to have you call it.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Preeti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much for joining us always.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Is there anyone else who would like to introduce yourselves? Please feel free. Okay, and start the recording and read the Prabhupada quote. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all so much for joining us today in this mid-morning session. As you all know, on Fridays, we have started multiple series. Currently, we are going to start the Arca Vigraha series, where we will be talking about deity worship, how to welcome deities, how to perform deity worship, what is the importance of a temple, various deities and various temples and their pastimes. So all of this will be covered in this series. And today we will start off with hearing Srila Prabhupada's lecture. This was a lecture actually on Srimad Bhagavatam, but it has some elements of deity worship. So we have chosen this lecture to set the right mood so that we all can delve into this very wonderful seminar series on deity. Before we get started, before Vinita Mataji starts playing the audio, I would like to read Prabhupada's quote for today. When I eat meat, mamsa, it means this animal will eat me again. You cannot escape this life for life. That is the law everywhere. If you have murdered somebody, you must be killed also. You can escape the so-called state laws, but you cannot escape the laws of material nature. Vrindavan, April 7, 1956. So thank you all so much, dear devotees. This is a lecture by His Divine Grace on Srimad Bhagavatam 328:20, spoken on October 20th, 1975 in Nairobi. Mataji will start playing the lecture, so let's...
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 28, Text number 20. Tasmi Labdha Padam Chitam Sarvavayava Samstitam Vilakshaikatra Samyujya Ange Bhagavata Muni Tasmi Labdha Padam Chitam Tasmi Labdha Padam Chitam Sarvavayava Samstitam Sarvavayava samstita Vilakshaya katra samyujya Vilakshaya katra samyujya Ange bhagavato muni Ange bhagavato muni Tasmin on the form. Translation. In fixing his mind on the eternal form of the Lord, the yogi should not take a collective view of all his limbs, but should fix the mind on each individual limb of the Lord.
Tasmin labdha padang chityam sarva bhayava samasthitam vilakshay katra sangjujyad angi bhagavato muni. So, as we have explained many times, that this Archamurti, the rascal class of man, they cannot understand Archamurti. They think that they are worshipping idol. Even amongst the Hindus, there are so-called followers of Vedas. They also say that what is the necessity of worshipping deity in the temple. They made very vigorous propaganda in India to stop temple worship. For a short time it has got some reaction, but now it is finished. That's rascal propaganda not to worship the deity in the temple is finished. Nobody cares for it. They think that God is everywhere except in the temple. That is their view. And God is everywhere, why not in the temple? No, that is their poor fund of knowledge, they cannot accommodate. No. God is everywhere, but not in the temple. This is their intelligence, rascals. So, we have to follow therefore Acharya. Acharyavan Purusha Veda, one who has accepted Acharya, one who knows the Shastra and practically behaves according to the regulation of Shastra, he is called Acharya. Achinati Shastrartha. So, all the acharyas in India, there are many, thousands and thousands of temples, very, very big temples, especially in South India. Some of them you have seen. Each temple is like a big fort. So, all these temples were established by the acharyas, not that the people whimsically established. No. Still, there is very prominent temple, Balaji temple, Tirupati, Tirumala. People are going, and the daily collection is more than 1 lakh of rupees. Still, although they have been propagated so vigorously not to visit temples, but people, that is the birthright in India. They are automatically Krishna conscious, automatically. Therefore all the demigods, they also desire to take birth in India. Automatically. So the temple's worship is essential. So those who are against temple worship, deity worship, they are not very intelligent class of men, foolish, mudha, again, the same word. Ramang duskitinam mudha prapadante naradhama maya apuritagyana asuri bhavavas. Maya apuritagyana. They are talking very big words that God is everywhere, but they are forbidding temple worship. Apuritagyana. The knowledge is imperfect. A common man can say, if God is everywhere, why not in the temple? And if we have to worship God, why not in His original form? The original form, Krishna, when He was present, the original form, so many people have seen, they have got paintings, and it is confirmed in the Shastras, in the Brahma Samhita, Venum kannantang aravinda dalayataksang barahavatang samasitam buddhasundarangam. Krishna is described in the Brahma Samhita from so millions and millions of years ago, described by Lord Brahma, that Venum kannantang aravinda dalayataksang. He is always playing his flute. Venu means flute. Kannantam, and eyes are like the petals of lotus flower. Venum kannantam aravinda dalayataksam barahavatangsa, and on the head he has got the plume of peacock feather. In this way the description is there in the Shastra. And when Krishna came, let him, why you disturb, let him do this. Sit down. So, Shastra says Krishna is like this. And when Krishna appeared on this planet, exactly the same description was there in his form. So we have to accept the form of the Lord as confirmed in the Shastra and as confirmed by the Acharya, then it is perfect. Sadhu Shastra Guru Bakko, Tinete Koriya Oikko. We have to understand something very rigidly by three things. It must be confirmed by the Shastra, and it must be confirmed by the Acharyas, and by the spiritual master. Very simple thing. We have description of Krishna in the Shastra, Brahma Samhita. The treatise given by Lord Brahma, and this Brahma Samhita was collected from South India in handwriting by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he delivered to his devotees. So the sadhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, still he is playing the part of a sadhu. Sadhu and Shastra, Brahma Samhita. And because we have received from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are delivering to our disciples. Here is Krishna's form. The sadhu, Shastra, Guru. It must be confirmed. Then we can accept. Not that whimsically, if some rascal comes and becomes God by concoction, we cannot accept. It must be confirmed by, why do bother? Let him. No. As he likes that. Sadhu, Shastra, Guru. This is the way. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing Sanatana Goswami in various subject matter, and he also described the incarnation in Kali Yuga from Shastra, that Krishna Varnang Tisha Krishnang Sangapangasta Parsadam Jaggai Sankirtanai Prayi Jajanti Sumedas. He quoted from Bhagavatam. This is the incarnation of Kali Yuga. So, he is himself Jaggai Sankirtanai Prayi. Sanatana Goswami was Prime Minister, very intelligent man. So he had inquired from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that how we can accept the avatar. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said from the Shastra. And Sanatana Goswami got it confirmed that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he stopped, of course, when he inquired, shall I accept this personality who is now preaching Sankirtan movement and along with his associates, he is the Supreme Lord. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, let us go on further, we don't. So this is the way, not whimsically accept any rascal as avatar. No, that is not the person. Or any rascal as God. These rascals have killed the whole human society to become atheists. You should be very, very careful of these rascals. As soon as somebody says that I am God, you shall immediately take him as dog, not God. So, God is not so cheap. In the Brahma Samhita, the description of God, Krishna is given, and it is said there, Jasyaika nishasita kala mathavalamba jivanti loma bilaja jagadannanatha Vishnur mahana sahuya jasya kala vishesho govindamadi purusham tamaham gajami. Govinda, the Adi Purush, his plenary representation is Mahavishnu. And what is this description of Mahavishnu? Jasya eka nishasita kalamathavalamba. From one exhaling of the breath, then Jasya nishasita kalamathavalamba. All these innumerable universes. We are saying we are in one universe. There are many millions of universes that we cannot see. We are within this universe, compact. We can see it is packed up, just like a ball. But there are many such. So all these different universes controlled by one Lord Brahma, they are coming during the exhaling period of Mahavishnu's breathing. That is God. Who can imagine it? Jasyaika nishasita kalamathavalamba jivanti loma vilaja jagadantana. And universes is coming from the, what is called? Hole? Here? Pores of the body from breathing in this way. Then just imagine how many pores are there in the Mahavishnu's body and how many universes are coming. And this is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Athava bahunaitina kinjatina tavajina vishchabhya idam krishnam ekangsena sthito jagat. This material manifestation is 1/4 part of my energy. So many innumerable universes. And this is the plenary portion of God, Govinda. Not full, but plenary, one part only. And do you think God is so cheap, anyone can become God? You don't take so cheaply that here is a God incarnation, here is a God. It's all bogus. Immediately reject them. Sadhu Shastra Guru. So, this Arca Vigraha, which you are worshipping, it is recommended by sadhu, by acharya, by shastra. It is not poetic imagination. Don't think that Krishna's form has been carved by the sculptor by some poetic imagination. No. Sadhu Shastra Guru. It is confirmed by sadhu, by shastra, by acharya. So why? To give us facility. Give us facility. We cannot see God by this blunt materialistic eyes. Materialistic eyes means everything we think in the with reference to our sense gratification. That is materialistic eyes. Everything belongs to God, that we cannot believe, neither we have got the power to understand it. Krishna says, God says, Sarva Loka Maheswaram, everything belongs to me. Still we are fighting, no, this Africa is mine, this America is mine, or this India is mine. They simply fight on this misconception. It is clearly said, and it is a fact, how this land becomes yours. It does not belong to you. You have come for the time being, for say 50 years, 100 years, but the land is lying for millions and millions of years. So, before your coming, the land was there, and after your going away, the land will be there. How it becomes yours? But they have no common sense, these rascals. They have no common sense. They are fighting nationalism. Therefore, they are described as gokha animals, cows and asses. Jashatma buddhi kunapeti dhatuke sadhik kalatradishu bhaumaijjadhi. Bhaumaijjadhi, this is nationalism. Worshipping the land of birth. This is called nationalism. So everyone is becoming very great personality by bhaumaijjadhi. The land in which he has taken birth is worshipable, not this deity. Deity is impersonal, but the land is personal. This is their intelligence. Therefore in Shastra it is said, Jasatma buddhi kunapeti dhatu. The mistake begins from this misunderstanding that I am this body. Therefore, all other mistakes, what are those? Jasatma buddhi kunapeti dhatu sadik kalatradishu. Family. My wife, this is my wife, this is my children, this is my father, this is my mother. We are in a family. Sadik, they are mine. They are my kith and kin. Others, they are all my enemies. This crippled thought, Jasatma buddhi kunapeti dhatu sadik kalatradishu, because they have no knowledge that nobody is my father, nobody is my mother, I am nobody's son. We are simply assembled together under certain conditions, just like some straws gathered together by the waves of the river, and again by the same river it is tossed here and there, and then the straw remains one. So we can study our history of life, that some was born in India, some was born in America, some was born in Africa, Canada. So we have come together There was no idea that we shall have to give up our family relationship and come into the society of Krishna consciousness. Similarly, we mix together, intermingle, by chance, not by chance, by the arrangement of the Supreme, by providence. Karmana daivanetrena. So we play the part of the son, the father, the wife, the children, but it is exactly the same, the straw gathering by the waves of the river. So, just like sometimes in a foreign country we make some relationship, brother, father, but that is not actually the fact. The real father is Krishna. Sarvajoni sukaunteya sambhamanti murtaya. This is understanding. So, we have to return to that understanding. Therefore, it is advised how to make our relationship stronger with Krishna. That is recommended here. Tasmin labdhapadam chittam sarva avayavam sanskritam. Don't think that Krishna or God has no head, no tail. No. Sarva avayavam sanskritam. Virat Murti. They are repeatedly said in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But his avayava, different parts of the body, they are different from our, this material, at the present moment, the material conception. That is different. He, just like we can pick up our foodstuff by this hand. This hand is not just like Krishna's hand. Krishna's hand appears to be non-moving. I think my hand is moving. But Krishna is so powerful that even he has got the so-called statue hand, a metal hand or a stone hand, he can capture food which you offer. That you have to understand. When Krishna is described as he has no hand, that means he has no that limited hand as we have got. He has got, he appears before us just like a stone idol or statue, but he has got all the capacity of the limbs of the body, sarva avayava. He has kindly appeared before us so that we can see. Here it is recommended. Sangjujyat ange. You have to see each and every part of the body, limb of Krishna. That is meditation. This Arca Vigraha, by offering worship to the deity, you see the lotus feet is there, the ankle is there, the mask in the soul is there, everything is there. So each and every part you study and understand Krishna is here, Krishna is there. This is meditation. It is not that the rascal theory that God is everywhere except in the temple. No, it is not like that. He is everywhere. Now he has appeared in this temple specifically to show his mercy, how we can study very analytically. Here is feet, here is hand, the feet is marked with these symptoms, his hand is like this, his flute is like this, his hair is like this, his eyes are... Study everything minutely. Then that is meditation, and this will help you to think of Krishna constantly, and that will be trance, samadhi, practical. It is not to be imaginary. The Mayavadis, they think that it is imagination. No, it is not imagination. It is confirmed by the Shastra, Sadhu Shastra Guru. So, don't be misled by the Mayavadis, as we have got our acharyas, they are instructing, as Bhagavad is instructing, Bhagavad Gita is instructing, we have to follow. And if we cannot follow, then we should see the acharyas, how they are doing, Mahajana Jina Gatasya Pantha. In this way, we have to make our life perfect. Thank you very much. On this subject matter, not bring the whole list of questions.
You said that the demigods, they want to take birth in India. Because they're not the same Vedic culture in the heavenly planets, why are they not explore Krishna consciousness?
They are missing the opportunity. That is their misfortune. They do not take advantage of the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. They are taking to technology. What can be done?
Her question was of the demigods. That you said that they wanted to take their birth in India, but is not the Vedic culture in the heavenly planets?
Heavenly, they, by pious activities, they go to the heavenly planets, but they find their inconvenience in God consciousness. Therefore, they desire that by our pious activities we have come to this higher planetary system, and as soon as our reaction or the resultant action of pious activities will be finished, we shall have to go again to the material or this bhulok. So, if remaining little balance of our pious activities, instead of going anywhere, let us take birth in India. They desire like that. Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Janmavi more ichha jadi tvara, kita janma ho dasatwara, like that. There he is praying, my Lord, I do not know whether I am sufficiently fit to go back to home, to work, to Godhead, but my only prayer is that if you think that I have to take birth again, so kindly give me this opportunity that I may take birth in a place, kita janma ho jatha dasata. Let me become an insignificant ant in the house of a devotee. If I am going to take birth at all, so give me this concession, that let me take birth as an ant in the house of a devotee. So Bharatasa, the devatas, the demigods desire to take birth in India because here is the opportunity. Still so much broken. You will find, you have seen that when you hold this Hare Krishna festival, 20,000, 50,000 men come. Automatically. You will find never in any other country. Still in India you will find that. Why? Because they have taken birth in India, the facility is there. So it is very unfortunate that Indians are trying to forget Krishna. Very unfortunate. Kripana. If you have got money, if you don't utilize it properly, that is your misfortune. Similarly, in India, those who have taken birth, they have got the opportunity. Bhagavad Gita is spoken in India, but they are reluctant. They are reluctant. This is their misfortune.
Srila Prabhupada, is it sometimes more appropriate to worship Archimurti or Sri Sri Gaunitai than Sri Sri Radha and Krishna?
That will be recommended to you by your spiritual master according to your position. There is no stereotyped idea. That you have to take instruction from your spiritual master. Or you have to do according to the instruction of spiritual master. That will be.
When we chant japa in front of Archamurti, do we then therefore by this verse meditate on Krishna and Radha?
When we chant japa in front of the deity, does that correspond to this verse of meditating on the Lord limb by limb?
Okay. You can see the Lord is everywhere. Anyone can think. All right, chant Hare Krishna.
We all. Such a beautiful, beautiful lecture. Thank you very much, Andarika Mataji, for patiently screening the beautiful lecture of this one day. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Lecture. I thought it was a very interesting lecture on deity worship, the beauty of the Lord and so on. So we'll open the forum for reflection. If you would like to share any reflections from the lecture you heard, please go ahead so that we can have the right mood when we delve into this new series that we have begun. Anyone would like to share their realizations from the talk of Srila Prabhupada?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this wonderful lecture that you have selected for this week. So beautiful. Srila Prabhupada is saying that how the deity has been manifested for us to worship. It is not just any like which architect made or something, like not like that. It is coming from the Shastra. It is coming in Veda scriptures has told how the deity should be there, not like imaginary, like how Mayavadis thinks also that how it should be like that, it should be like that. No, it is not like that. It's directly coming from the scriptures, and Parampara and Guru, previous acharyas has told exactly how the Arca Vigraha should be there. So, and we cannot think that deity is also limited to something else, some small portion. No, deity is unlimited. It can be performing the actions with different limbs. That also Srila Prabhupada was clearly saying that, and then that we should be very careful when you're worshipping the deity. And also Srila Prabhupada was making this very important point. Nobody is called as a god. If someone is calling themselves to be god, they're dog, they are not god. It's very beautiful, Mataji. I will give opportunity to others to speak. If nobody speaks, I can speak more also. I like the lecture.
Yes. Yeah, yes, Prabhu. I think there was an issue with unmuting. Now everyone can unmute.
Oh, sorry, there was a disturbance when lecture was going on. I muted everyone. I forgot about it. Please forgive me for that.
Absolutely no worries, Mataji. We have now opened the forum for meeting. So anyone else would like to share what they learned from the lecture? Yes, Sudhakar.
Hare Krishna. It was a very nice lecture by Prabhupada. In fact, it got cleared of my so many doubts about the meditation. I think it's very clear today, this lecture. First time I'm hearing this. So I think I attended this course also first time. I like this lecture, and probably I will explore more into this website for this one, Voices of the Prabhupada. But I had one general question, not directly related to the topic. What I noticed is, if you see the deities, if you see for in India, for example, I'm not talking about other places, I see a distinct difference in the deity itself of the same Lord. For example, Lord Krishna, if you take Lord Krishna, deity in the north is projected in a different picture in some, and when south in some temples it is projected different. So like we know that of course God has a different forms and like that. So, but of course I could not make it, but it is, I think the interpretation of Prabhupada is lectures is like that the scriptures have probably, or the acharyas or the scriptures who has made their statues as based upon the scriptures, I believe, because you can see that, right? Difference in the, when you go to the temple, particularly in South India, the temple atmosphere is different when compared to the north. I'm sure you would have seen that. In the temple in the south, particularly, you will see, that there is not much lighting in the for to God you to see there. So you have to depend on the harati or the lamps. But whereas in the north, I see clearly it's illuminated. By default, you can see the Lord's the main Gopuram even from far distance. So there are some what you call, I don't know, maybe it is a difference of the presentation of the deity or something like. If you can close.
Yeah, the way the deity is carved is generally based on Shastra. The Krishna Murti means it should, the Murti should have certain features, cross-legged form and holding the flute. So these are some standardized standardized formats that are recommended in scripture, how Krishna's eyes should be, how he should be smiling, all of these things. But the atmosphere in the temple, yes, it depends on the architecture style. There are so many types of architectures for temples itself. There are different styles of building temples. So depending on the architecture styles and the standards that have been set for that particular temple, the atmosphere is surely, I feel, it does change from location to location based on several things like culture and the king who was responsible for building that temple and so on. And of course, in North, there were so many invasions. So the structures have been spoiled and then they had to reconstruct and they went through a lot, right? So definitely.
Okay.
That's the impression that I got. But if anyone else wants to add to those questions, please.
I have some other one. Can I ask you?
Yes, sure.
I noticed that normally when you go to the temples, they don't allow the devotees to touch the deities. I don't know why. Why? I was wondering this one, but those guys, they even, they just warn us, as if you have done a very big crime. So I actually, of course, I thought of asking them, but it was not the point. I went there, but I just had this doubt. I don't know north, but at least in south, they are very serious. If you touch, as if you have done a big crime.
Yeah, so the vidhis for deity worship, depending on the Pancharatric vidhi that they are following in the temple, they have some people enforce very strict rules as to who can worship, who can touch and worship the deity. You have to be properly Brahminical initiated, you have to do your Gayatri, you have to do, you should have taken bath, you should have done XYZ, like that. They go on, there's a big list. And unless we are completely in that standard, because that is deity worship has various standards. Of course, in our series, in our seminar series, we are going to go through all that, depending on the speaker. Different speakers are going to come. But yes, like for example, not everyone can enter the altar and just walk into the altar, right? So only the person who's appointed as the pujari for that day is gone through sufficient samskara, he goes and he touches something like that, Prabhu. But of course, definitely, the standards are different. As you said, in South, they follow very rigid restrictions. That is true. You're right.
Even I would like, sometimes surprised, like if I just try to understand, I'm not having much knowledge in this, but like, the purpose of the temple, if you understand, or before the deity, the temples, right? Why the temples or the places of the worships are created is for the people to come gather and chant, and so that there is a separate what do you call vibrations created, and that creates a separate thing there. So the whole purpose of the temple, what I understand, I may be wrong, but I would like to also know that the whole purpose of the temple and the deity is for the public or the devotees, right, to come and worship and do seva to him. But I don't know why in the temple this put so many conditions, and sometimes you feel like the purpose of the going to the temple is lost, by seeing the so much of restrictions, other thing like that. This is my feeling. I'm not saying that it should be the same for all the people, but I was wondering why. Is there anywhere in the scriptures mentioned that the devotee should not touch?
Yeah,
I have not heard.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, this is a doubt I was having. I thought put it, of course, not directly related to the Prabhupada lecture, but I thought to share my.
Yeah. It is about cleanliness and the standard of the worship standards that has been set according to the Pancharatric Vidhi in scripture. When deities are taken care of, they are taken care of in a particular standard. So we have to be very, like there are so many rules. You have to be very respectful, you have to be very clean, you should have the adhikar. So we can earn the adhikar. Even in ISKCON temples, definitely only Brahmana pujaris are allowed. Only after second initiation, they are allowed to go and worship the deities or touch the deities in one sense. The rest of us are allowed to take darshan, do kirtan, sit next to, sit in front of the deities, of course. Look at the beautiful form of the deities, do everything. But to touch and serve the deities, we should be sufficiently trained. So if we undergo the training and the samskara, definitely anybody is.
Yeah, but also learned, madam, in the Bhagavad Gita, or what I understood is, Lord Krishna says, I think, rituals are not important for him. As long as your mind is there, that is important, what I understood from the Bhagavad Gita, one of the lectures. So if that is the case, then why these rituals are secondary, right? Even I think it was stated somewhere by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So why?
Secondary, if depending on what we are trying to do for Krishna. So in deity worship, when Krishna is present as an Arca Vigraha, we are not calling it a ritual. It is somewhat like a personal service. It is the form of the Lord. He's a person. Just like when we take care of our children, sometimes the mother knows best how to take care of the children. She has understood the child in and out, and she knows when the child is hungry. She knows how to feed the child. Maybe an aunt may not be the best person. She might be okay, but not great, right? So how to, when you should stop feeding the child, probably when you should wipe off the, food from the child's mouth, or when the child should be taken bath, how the child should be given bath. So many things are there, right? Like that, the pujaris who are sufficiently trained and undergone the samskara get the training how to exactly handle deities. So like that, only for deity worship, definitely there are standards inside temples. In your home deities, you set your standard, and we can start with home deities. So with our love and devotion, we are cooking and offering bhoga to Krishna. Krishna is accepting it. We also give bath to deities. We do everything in our home. In temple, standards are little higher. I don't know if that helped, Prabhu, but I'm sorry, I'm not the right person to talk.
It's okay. I understand to a certain extent. No problem. Yeah. Thanks for sharing your perspective, and I think and letting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone else have any reflections from the lecture you would like to give?
I would also like to add to Prabhuji's question, if that's okay.
Yes, Mataji. Anyone, everyone is welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I think Prabhuji was mentioning that, about going and having like a personal touch or something like that with the Arca Vigraha in the temple. I was thinking like how Prabhupada says, like, when we go and see a big personality like a prime minister or a president, we go through several checks, right? Before even we can approach them for a talk. Leave alone, like embracing them or touching them or things like that, that's not even allowed. So when things like, you cannot go and embrace a president or a prime minister, right, for various security reasons and things like that. And Lord is the supreme Lord. He's the Lord of the universe. And so there ought to be some standards. At least we should follow minimum basic. And touching the Lord, going, I mean, it's on an external plane. This may satisfy our senses that you want to go touch the Lord or do something, but the internal purity of the mind and the heart also makes a big difference. And like we have seen in our scriptures, Sanatana Goswami, he was such a close associate of the Lord, of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when he was afflicted with the skin rash, he would go a roundabout route, so that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not even take a look of him, because he didn't like that the Lord embraced him with his skin rashes and things like that. So the mood of the devotee is like like a very humble mood, in that sense that they're not waiting to go and embrace or get embraced by the Lord or things like that, but they want to hide away and just not give that that pain to the Lord, like how Sanatana Goswami, even at one point he was like, I should even end my life, rather than give this pain of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embracing him. Like, these thoughts also went across in his mind. So I think with more purification and internal purification, the perspective of how to approach the Lord, even, the thought of approaching the Lord or offering service to the Lord will change, in the sense that we need to think, am I even qualified to go near the Lord? Like, as we, I think, progress on the spiritual path, these questions come to the mind of a devotee, right? So I was just thinking if I could share that.
Yeah, that's actually very true. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, that is also another point. Sometimes devotees are very sensitive. They are thinking, oh, am I even qualified? Like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji, very much.
Thank you.
Anything else? And from anyone else about the lecture, about some point you liked?
Yeah, one realization or a comment, if I can share, is, like this lecture, Vinita just shared me the link. I just hopped on, I think midway or towards the end. So I quickly read through the lecture. And this also reminded me of how the Lord is so merciful, that he comes down in this Arca Vigraha form just for us to worship and, have some personal association like that. And this also like reminded me of the though this form is in one sense material, but also spiritual, by the way how we approach. It reminded me of the Virata Rupa, though it is a material manifestation, but nonetheless it helps the like the monists or the philosophers get a grasp of who the Lord is, because they like to see him in that universal form like that. So that was something that came to my mind.
Thank you, Mataji. That's good.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Anything else from anyone who heard the lecture? I don't know. It was coincidental that 2 days back, on 5th April, Jatak Maharaj also, he talks about the 108 divine places of worship. He says, last night I woke up at 2:30 a.m. PDT. I'm in Los Angeles. This is one of the original temples established by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I was thinking that just as they have in South India 108 Divya Desams of the Sri Sampradaya, we should have 108 temples that Srila Prabhupada established as a kind of divine place of worship, and maybe call them Sri Pathas. I was thinking how these are very important, especially as the world becomes more and more Krishna conscious. That was so nice. It just came around the same time that we have been discussing about devotion. Yes, Pita Priti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhamat Pranam. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this class. Like when the class was going on, there were a couple of points which I was thinking, like as the Prabhu also said about the touching of the Lord. Like in one sense, then we feel like, as we all know that in Pandharpur, Lord Vitthal, like there are so many stories, right? How the Lord had come for the rescue of his devotees, whether it was the Gora Kumbar or Saint Tukaram Maharaj. So like there are many stories from there also, which shows that the Lord personally came to help his devotees. So when you go to Pandharpur, and it's very everybody that loves that part, because when you go in the temple graha, you can touch the Lord's feet over there. So that's one very unique thing about Pandharpur.
Yes,
And now in couple of months, the Pandharpur Yatra will again start. And one more thing from the class which I was thinking about was when Srila Prabhupada was saying that when and I hope like if each and every like person, forget about only devotees, each and every person, if they can think about on this line, it will be so easy for us to not lord over this material world, or to become the lords in this material world. Like what Srila Prabhupada said was that when before we came, the land was there, after we go also the land is going to be there. Then how is it that we are saying that this belongs to me and I have earned it and we are keeping these land for the generations to come? So like these are such small things, like if each and every person understands this at their own intellectual level, it will be very easy to just have one small land, one cattle, take care of them and live a very simple life. But like though these lectures, though you feel that there are so many points, but one point also, if each and everyone takes from it, it will make a huge, huge, huge difference. So thank you, Mataji, for this wonderful class. Like it was really like worth reading and hearing it again. Each and every class of Srila Prabhupada is the same, but thanks for choosing this, Mataji. Hare
Very,
Krishna.
very nice, Mataji. Thank you so much. Well, I hope I can just take at least one point from this lecture. Thank you. Any other reflection? Yes. So that's
Mataji,
right.
Mataji, I liked one more so sweet when Prabhupada said, if you have any questions, then Prabhupada also said that don't ask the questions from all around, just ask from this subject. Like so we also do announce in our classes about that, right? I felt very sweet when I never heard Srila Prabhupada saying in any other lecture like that. It's the first lecture I'm hearing only from this topic he was telling. It was so nice.
True, Mataji, very true. Yes, Sudhakar Prabhu, you wanted to say something else?
I just thought to share the one of the reflection which I felt. The deity worship, I think, particularly when I visit any ISKCON temple, it gives me a different pleasure. You see that God being decorated daily in a different, in a different forms, and that also helps the devotee bringing the image of the God in his mind, and it helps in progressing for this sadhana of meditation. So I thought this is like one of the point I thought to share, which I personally feel like that. Whenever I visit, I just like just to stare the altar like that. I can't. You can't see that one. You have to feel that. Of course, it is again depends on. But this is from my personal. One of the advantage of the visiting temple or praying the deity worship is that of course, as you said rightly, the pujaris, they decorate the god in various forms, various styles on a daily basis, on a regional basis and festivals. So it also gives a very beautiful, colorful images of the god in our mind, and it just gets like an image, firm image in our mind, at the back of our mind, and it helps in our sadhana. Not to share that.
So true, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yeah, they are decorated so beautifully and gives us so much happiness just to see these people. Very nice, Prabhu. And I think even the lecture, actually, the Bhagavatam verse is about meditating on the form of the Lord, right? That is the connection. So when they are just so beautifully, we automatically get absorbed in meditation on the beauty of the Lord. Thank you, Sudhakar Prabhu. That was very beautiful. Anything else? So thank you all so much. It was indeed a very beautiful lecture. If needed, we can even share the recording on the group of the lecture. If I can download MP3, I'll see. And we'll put it on the group. If someone missed hearing the lecture from beginning to end, you can hear it again. So thank you all so much. We'll end the call here, dear devotees. We'll meet you next week on Friday again on the same series, but we'll have multiple speakers on different topics and deities. And it may not be just worship, it can be many things. It can be pastimes of deities and temples, it will be about formal worship, it might be about deity installation. So there are varied topics related to deities coming up in the next month, this entire month. So thank you all so much again. We'll end the call here. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So all the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Srila Prabhupada Amrita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.